Namaskar. Welcome to NFL Masala Season 4, Episode 19. I am your host for today, Rakshak. Welcome to NFL Masala, where we talk about all the latest happenings in the NFL with a little bit of spice. For today's special episode, along with some few Dhamakadar news, I will be covering the Week 6 recap of my Philadelphia Eagles and that loss against the New York Football Giants. And I will also do a preview of Week 7 with the Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. But before that, we have some Dhamakadar news. Let's get to it. Our first bit of news starts from Sunday's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. San Francisco 49ers linebacker Fred Warner suffered an ankle dislocation in the first quarter, and he will and his season is over. Unfortunately, an ankle dislocation for Fred Warner is over, and he's going to miss the season for it. And it's a very unfortunate because now almost the entire Niners defensive front or their star players are on season-ending IR, and it's a tall tale to ask. Another bit of news, according to Adam Schefter, Chiefs wide receiver Rashid Rice's 6-game suspension is now over, and he's eligible to play on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. So a much-needed weapon for Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs passing offense, and also helps Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy and Isaiah Pacheco. So I think that's good on their side. And now, with this being said, we got to talk about Week 6. The Eagles had a short week. Let's get this straight. Sunday, when they lost against the Broncos, they had a few days to make some changes and dealt with some injuries. And I thought they would go again. They'll have a good, easy, get it right game against the New York Giants. But nope. To my surprise, but not too surprised, the Eagles got their asses kicked. They lost 17-34. They got their asses kicked by a banged up Giants team. Offense and defense, even special teams, it just shows how big the inconsistencies and the ineptitudes of this Eagles team is facing. Even though, the Washington Commanders, the Dallas Cowboys, they both lost, you still had the NFC East, which is now a freaking joke. It's like you're now 4-2, and I honestly think this team needs a come to Jesus moment and whatnot. I mean, if you want to talk about one thing, the offense was completely broken. It was not a good game for Jalen Hurts. 24 for 40 for 33, 266 yards, one touchdown, one very bad interception. For those that are talking about it, he finally threw a pick in Week 7, although he did his best in taking care of the ball. I mean, how inconsistent can you get? So, if you looked at the Eagles first, overall, the run game, there was no run game, I felt. Saquon Barkley, 12 carries for 58 yards with an 18 long carry. But what's even concerning, think about it. First drive was promising with two very big, nice runs by Saquon Barkley. It was more like a pin pull method. It's they pin it and then he'll just run to one side, 10 plus yards. But then again, the issues that we're seeing from Kevin Patullo's offense is that there's no creativity, there's no diversity in the play calling. especially when you have a banged up offensive line in which like Brett Toth is replacing Landon Dickerson. Cam Jurgens, I feel, is not at 100%. I mean, it was bad. And yes, not having Mekhi Becton, who is now with the Chargers, and having a guy like Tyler Steen, who is a good a decent pass blocker, but it's just bad. Like, I mean, the Giants defense, they read the same play. It's like, and immediately we're going to stop the run. And now the Eagles have been forced to pass because I mean, the run game is inexistent. Like, if you want to look at the all 22 film, it is too damn predictable, especially when you see like OL offensive line formations. And if you want to get more information on that, I do recommend Johnny Page's all 22 from Bleeding Green Nation, Eagles Home. Eagles home in SB Nation. You can literally fucking tell that it's either gonna be a run or a pass play. A kindergartner or like a beginner level football coach can identify it. It's too damn simple. And what's really upsetting is that this Eagles team has a lot of offensive talent to win against man coverage. I mean, you have beaters like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and in some cases, and like Dallas Goddard, who had some beautiful mesh routes. But when you're facing zone coverage, you're like it's running into a brick wall. But I don't get it. And when the team is unable to run the ball in the second half or anything like that consistently, defenses they don't need to play. They don't need to play single high. They could just sit in zone. Hey, we know how to. They can't even run the ball. We could just sit in our empty spots. And the route running is so bad. And when I saw the Eagles go empty set, why are we doing that? Especially against zone, because Hurts is good. Johnny Page said this, like Hurts in the meantime, he continues to look more comfortable in empty sets. And again, the coaching staff, like, what is wrong with this? They don't call it very often. And against zone heavy looks, it's the easiest way to isolate receivers against like the linebackers in the middle of the field. This is all from Johnny Page, but basically, if a team is playing zone, why not just go heavy frequently? Just put AJ Brown and Devontae Smith instead of putting them outside. Attack the middle of the field because most of the weaknesses in zone coverage is the middle of the field. You have Dallas Goddard. Why aren't they using them even more? And it's just bad. It's like you are refusing to adapt and to do the same thing over and over again, saying like, "Oh, it's just going to be execution." That is, I feel, is the definition of insanity. And I mean, yeah, and not having Kellen Moore does hurt to have not have that creativity side. And Kim Patullo, he's running Nick Sirianni's offense, but the issue is he needs to have wrinkles in this game. I don't see it. Those 4 wins that the Eagles have had, we're being bailed out because of talent on the defensive side and on offense. But the fact that we can't even like produce a single constant run game is frustrating when you have one of the best running backs in Saquon Barkley. It is maddening. And I mean, at the end, Dallas Goddard finished 9 catches for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. That was a beautiful mesh one. And then AJ Brown, 6 targets for 80 yards. I thought he was good. Devontae Smith, 5 targets, 4 catches for 49 yards. But we have to talk about this one play. I mean, this was, I believe, I was trying to say, I think there was one play in which Devontae Smith, I think this is third quarter, so 3rd and 6, Philadelphia 11. Jalen Hurts is in shotgun formation, takes a snap. Devontae Smith beats this man, I think Cordell Flott. He's right open. Jalen Hurts overthrows him. And it's just bad. It is bad. And I have also noticed during the time when the Eagles are still trying to run 12 or 13 personnel, just so that they could try and build a run. Why aren't you going outside a lot more with Saquon, knowing that the interior teams are going to be are crashing more into it? And it's insanity. And I also have to say this: Jalen Hurts has to be blamed on this game because he took I mean, he was sacked 3 times. He held on to the ball, and the pick at the and when he threw that pick to while trying to target John Dotson, I mean, AJ Brown was wide open. I mean, it's insane. I wish I could go more with stats, but it'll just frustrate me. I mean, if you want to talk about a stat, Eagles couldn't even convert a third down. I think they were like 1 for 9. And the Giants, their offense was on 11 for 16. And it's just very, very bad. Very bad miscommunication, like on offense. Like, why are we not? Why are we just going so simple? And I mean, eh, eh, and this is again, it's the repetition. Every single game, almost every game, the Eagles have scored 0 points in the second half. They've only scored 7 points in each of their 2 prior games against the Buccaneers and the Broncos. I mean, it's just bad. And this game, Eagles were outgained 366 yards to 339. Uh, and now I think we need to talk about the defense because honestly, the defense didn't do its part either. And I would also say this. It's even if you have like a lot of talent like in Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Quinyon Mitchell, and all of that, it's just it's like you're playing undisciplined football. And in this game, we saw Quinyon Mitchell being out. He had a bad hamstring. I think when Keely Ringo was starting opposite of Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, the Giants, they were entering without Malik Neighbors. They were entering without Darius Slayton. And you were going with little Jordan Humphreys and Wandell Robinson. Good Lord. When I saw this, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Keely Ringo, he had the speed against Humphreys, but not being able to make that tackle and not being able to stop like to stop, he was getting burnt every single time. I mean, like if you want to talk about, like, he was targeted the entire game, especially, okay, so let's talk about this. 3rd and 12 at the Eagles 22-yard line, at opening quarter. He got manned up on that. Like Humphrey high points the ball. Ringo was right there. He could do little to stop it. And Jackson Dart has not completed a pass for over 20 yards in the first quarter alone. Jackson Dart completed 3 passes for over 20 yards. 2 of those 3 completions came against Ringo, which was the Giants found their pigeon. On a 3rd and 6 on the Giants, 37 on their last drive of the first half, Dart hits Humphrey again. 9-yard pass and a first down. Obvious. Find number 7, and Ringo was called for a penalty. 3rd and 8, passing interference, but it just ended the game. It ended it played all but ended the game, and then Jackson and then of course Jackson Dart evading the sacks and whatnot. It's just. Okay, so where was I? I mean, Jackson Dart and this Eagles defense not being able to get to the quarterback. Yes, you're able to get the interior pressure, and without Jalen Carter, it's almost like light and day. But still, if you have the quarterback right outside with Jackson Dart, don't let him play like Joe Montana. You go after him, come in a bad angle. It was bad. I mean, and not only that, like Jackson Dart's first quarter touchdown pass to Wandell Robinson, Andrew Makuba, defense, like that rookie, he tried to take down Dart, and woof, it was bad. He got bad. The Eagles' first half defense was so bad. They allowed the Giants, which was ranked 27th in entering a game and touchdowns scored a game, averaging 1.8 to scoring 3 touchdowns out of 4 drives. The Giants basically carved Fangio's defense underneath stuff, pounding the Eagles for 15 plays, running out 537 and traveling 67 yards. I mean, Vic Fangio had the schemes and all that, but good Lord, not being able to tackle, not playing proper coverage, it's just bad. And Cam Scatterbo was running over you. I don't care if he's a rookie. I mean, yeah, give credit. 19 rushes for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, good Lord. This defense got embarrassed. Jackson Dart, 17 for 2,595 yards of passing, 1 touchdown. Jackson Dart, 13 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown on run, but was just bad overall. And I mean, I don't know what I can say. There's no pass rush from the edges, no pass rush from the defensive tackles, and guess what? Now we see Darius Smith later on, like couple of days this week, like during that mini bye week the Eagles had, he announced his retirement, and I honestly feel like since then Howie should have made a move. Like they could have looked for someone like Trey Hendrickson, look for Bradley Chubb. Hell, I mean, what really helped the Eagles last year when they made that Super Bowl one was the depth. The depth was the biggest key. And for example, you look at the edges. Back then, you had Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, you're developing Jalix Hunt, and then you already had a veteran Josh Sweat, and maybe in some cases Bryce Huff, who did absolute jack shit. And the secondary, when you had guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, Cooper DeJean sticking in the slot, you also had a backup in Isaiah Rodgers, who's already killing it in Minnesota. It's just bad. It is very, very bad. And don't forget the defensive line. When you had a rotation, Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Mara Ujamo, it's bad. It is very bad. And I mean, the depth is bad on the edge. The depth is bad on the cornerback. So how are you going to fix it? Howie needs to make something done by the trade deadline. I don't care if you're trading for someone like Denzel Ward, a good outside boundary CB, one who can play that. And I honestly felt like during the offseason, I know the Eagles made an offer for Isaiah Rodgers, but they should have stuck with him first and got him along. It would have really helped because Adoree Jackson's not it. He's old. Shane McCoy was like screaming for him to retire. I honestly think that should be the case. Keely Ringo, I'm sorry, man. He's not it. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or whatnot, but it was one of his back-to-back worst games. I don't know. And the depth is so bad because now, I mean, because upcoming now, I think it's a transition to week 7. The Eagles defense, the Eagles will play or will travel to Minnesota after that Thursday night football game last week. They will play the Vikings. And it's a very familiar face. No JJ McCarthy, but the starter for the Vikings right now is Carson Wentz. You know Carson Wentz very, very well. Former first-round pick in the 2016 draft. It was had an MVP-like season with the Eagles under Doug Peterson in his second year as a starter before that torn ACL. And Nick Foles took over and helped the Eagles win their first Super Bowl. But now this time, you would honestly think like, oh, there's going to be no JJ McCarthy, and because I mean he did suffer an injury, and if I were an Eagles fan, I would have preferred to go face off against JJ McCarthy too, because like he can be unpredictable. He's a good runner, but his deep balls and his accuracy is very, very iffy. But but let's start off with this. Eagles offense versus the Vikings defense. Let's first start off with this. Jalen Hurts, who's been with a very shaky offensive line and bad offensive play calling, in my point of view, they're going against Brian Flores, who is a defensive mastermind. This guy loves to bring the blitz. And if you want to know, and like they can disguise, they usually go 5-2 front, meaning like five linemen, five linemen, five up front, and then you have two linebackers at back. I mean, it's just insane. Like they got studs like Jonathan Allen, Jalen Redmond, and don't forget Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Greeland, who is one of their best tacklers. Their best blitzers. They're guys who can bring in a lot of pressure. And Jonathan it was Jonathan Greeland. And then they also have Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace Jr. Usually they would go with Andrew Van Ginkel, but because he's out, you're seeing a lot more snaps from Dallas Turner, who is very, very good. And I would say that, it's bad. And and I think like the Vikings, seeing with Landon Dickerson like still being banged up and trying to push it through, I think like if I'm the defense for Brian Force, I am licking my lips big time. And if I wanted to find a way to beat this Brian, and let me talk a little bit more about this one. They like to bring in a lot of stunts and attack inside. They're definitely going to attack the interior because Landon Dickerson is hurt. He's not 100%. You're going against Brett Toth, Cam Jurgens, and Tyler Steen. That means like Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata can't do anything. So I think they are second in blitz rate, but you never know who's coming. They can line with 6 or 7, go full zero blitz, and then drop half of them from the opposite side. They could rush 3. Brian Flores loves to like attack with blitzes and all that. And sometimes like also with coverage, they like to do single high, meaning like they'll put one safety at the back, play a little bit of zone. Then immediately when you're thinking like, oh, they're just putting one safety at the back as a cover 1. No, they go Tampa 2 or go straight up cover 2. They could drop linebackers and underneath windows, and the Vikings love to play zone coverage. Remember, the Eagles are good against their Eagles offense is great against man coverage, but when they're facing zone, they fucking suck for some odd reason. And I think, and remember, they're the ranked number 1 in overall defense per EPA. And with negative 0.2, and they're number 1 against the pass with negative 0.42 EPA per play, which is very, very good. And if I want to talk about their secondary, we already know our man Isaiah Rodgers, backup in Jeff Okudah, safety Joshua Mathulis and Harrison Smith, right cornerback Brian Murphy Jr., and Theo Jackson, who can play the nickel. They like to play a lot of designs. They are fast, and they can make quarterbacks think very slowly. And I would say this. Sometimes against this defense, if I'm the Eagles, first things first, you have to build this run game because the Vikings are giving up more than 130 rushing yards per game, 4.5 yards per carry. The EPA per rush, they have allowed like plus 0.03, which is 24th ranked. And run stuff, they've only allowed like 19%, which is 7th. Rushing yards after contact, 3.47, 27th allowed. Rush yards before contact or carry, which is 1.506. Outside run, they give up a lot of outside runs, which is why if I'm the Eagles, don't attack the middle. Don't attack the middle don't attack via interior. If you're going to go 12 or 13 personnel, especially like bringing in Fred Johnson and going Kylan Granson, Cameron Latu, Grant Calcaterra is out, and Dallas Goedert's coming back in, and Dallas Goedert's in, you have to run Saquon outside. You have to maybe you go shotgun spread. Maybe you do 11 personnel and you try and go empty set and you try and do a proper design QB run for Jalen Hurts. You have to get the run game going. You have to attack the outside. The outside. You like the even though the Vikings they like to sack the box because knowing Saquon, they are going to say like, hey, we dare you to come through the middle of the field. Do not do that. If you're going to go middle of the field on a 3rd and 1 and all that, push it or use AJ Dillon. Outside runs with Saquon Barkley and allow him to use his athleticism. And if you still want to pass the ball, throw outside the numbers. Put AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside and run in outside routes. Make it a 1-versus-1. Yes, Isaiah Rodgers will most likely be on AJ Brown. But if I want to see a mismatch, Byron Murphy against Devontae Smith. Maybe this is another Devontae Smith kind of game. You keep on attacking Devontae Smith, then you can probably try and get AJ Brown open, bring Brown in motion. Hell, if you try and put him a jet sweep, and I want to see John Dotson and Mechie get some snaps too, because they haven't done crap. Put Dotson in a run. I want to see a couple of mesh runs. I want to see more cadence, like speed up, go hurry up offense, like go fast, use motion, run the ball at 11 personnel via spread. Do whatever it takes to win the freaking game. Can the Eagles do that? It's like if you want, and yes, when the Vikings are playing this type of defense, they aren't saying like, "Oh, please attack the middle of the field," because we have good linebackers that can do that. Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace Jr. I would say attack outside. Try and win that one-on-one coverage. And I think like if they can go, I say like throw again outside. This has to be a game in which Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith need to connect big time. And I said before, the Vikings, they love to bring the blitz. They can go full zero blitz. They can drop a few, and then the 3 big guys, Javon Hargrave, Dallas Turner, John Greenland. So those are going to be your 3 main peoples to look out for. And if this is what it is, you have to target and pass early. And even with the Vikings and generating a lot of blitzes and whatnot, they have not generated that much takeaways. They've only got 2 interceptions, but they were both against Jake Browning. And they're deep. But I think like they like to fake the pressure, drop linebackers in the middle. And I'd say with Hurts, you got to avoid the quick slants unless he's absolutely sure they're blitzing. This is from Johnny Page. And I think if I'm the Eagles, do not hold the ball. You need a quick, hot route games. Throw a lot of ball. I think I would say this. For the one time, throw the goal ball to A.J. Brown because he's so damn good in one-on-one coverage. Just be simple. Like, do not wait for the pass. Do not wait to throw the ball because if you're holding onto it too much, you're going to get sacked. And I think like and what this is like, I would say again, build up with the run, outside zone, and counters. Do that a lot more. And I think and I don't and if you're gonna commit to the run, and if it's working, just do it. And drain the clock with that. Early run game, quick cadence and motion. And if they can target the outside with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts can throw the ball quickly and easily, that's good. Now, we go on to the Eagles defense versus the Vikings offense. There's, again, no J.J. McCarthy. This is going to be a Carson Wentz game. Carson Wentz is going to be playing. So, with this being said, you got to give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell because if you look under Kevin O'Connell so far, the Vikings' red zone efficiency is 10th in the league, and and with a Kevin O'Connell type of offense, which he's done under Sean McVay, they've used a lot of condensed splits, motions, and play action. Something that the Eagles haven't fucking done this season so far. And Jay Jetta, Justin Jefferson, like he's definitely the number one guy. Right now, he has 29 receptions for 140 for 449 yards, one touchdown as of now. He's averaging 54.5 yards after cat, or like yards per reception. That's incredible. And the fact that like the run game is a little bit shaky. Even though they don't have Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason is a very good physical run stopper. Run like downhill runner. He can finish it through contacts. This Eagles defense has struggled with the physical run game, so maybe you have that break. I honestly think that you have to win on first and second downs. You have to stop the run early. And if the Eagles are able to force like negative plays, like you pull him for yards after a loss, you're able to get to Carson Wentz and sack that man. It's good. And I'll get to the sacks yet. But the first things first, you have to stop the early runs. And seeing a lot of motion, I don't know what the Eagles do against Justin Jefferson because Quinyon Mitchell is questionable. Jalen Carter but doesn't mean that you put Cooper DeJean on him and you pray for Adoree Jackson to go against Jordan Addison. I mean, because Addison, he's a good deep threat. He has the hands. And Jay Jetta, if you put him in motion, he has a lot of zone beaters routes. And he's so damn good. I mean, I think like what will work with Wentz is the passing game. He's going to have Justin Jefferson motion so many times to shake that bracket. Like you put Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo, God forbid, on him, and you try and bracket him with a safety. He has the speed and the shiftiness to make them look silly. That is my concern. And the offense is and I think like if there's a weakness, it's on the left tackle, Justin School. Very weak against speed rushers. And their interior line would includes the likes of Mike Juergens, Will Friars, and even Donovan Jackson. It's not been good. Like they are a little bit weak against like with like interior rushers. Like if Jalen Carter's playing, this could be a Jalen Carter game, and he like finally gets the quarterback and gets some sacks. If he's able to generate a lot of pressure and the others are finishing, that would be very good. But again, the edge rushers. This is where we need to see guys like Jalix Hunt and Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche step up. And I would not be surprised because if Nakobe Dean is playing in this game as a linebacker, I would put Jahad Campbell as an edge. Put him in the edge until Nolan Smith comes back. And with Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, both are great in coverage. Both can stop the run and can be very physical. You still keep Cooper DeJean in the slot. If Quinyon Mitchell somehow able to play this game, which would be very shocking for me, I'll put Quinyon on Justin Jefferson. You shadow him the entire time. And I will trust Q most of the time. And that means you could put your rest up on Jordan Addison, and don't forget their tight end, TJ Hawkinson. I say you put. I think like this is where you have to use a lot of common sense. Or if you go Cooper DeJean on the outside, maybe you see Mac McWilliams take over. The rookie play in the slot, and with this being part of it, the biggest weakness of the Vikings offense is that they've taken a lot of sacks. They've given up 21 sacks, which is the worst sack rate of 12.6%. And I would say you try and see delayed blitzes. Do that, like show some kind of stunts. Like if Fangio can do this, that would be very, very good. I would say, I think like it's a whole unit. The offensive line, if you can attack the O-line early and you're able to get the quarterback, make them look like a headless chicken. That would be great. Like use blow stunt pickups, late blitzes. I mean, the left tackle, Justice Gill, bad against speed rushers. Interior cannot has gone through some injuries. Maybe this would be something for. And I think what Carson Wentz, he can get the ball out quicker, but he cannot work with pressure. He tries to go with the hang tough, and we know him for that sack fumble thing. This could be a game in which the Eagles use a lot of simulated pressures. If the front seven can somehow find a way to get to Wentz before he even makes a throw, that would be very good. And it's very tough to like diagnose what it is. And I would say with this one, if you were going to find a way to beat the Vikings, the Eagles defense has to win the first and second downs. They have to stop the run early against Jordan Mason and Xavier Scott. Oh, and don't forget Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen can play slot too, and he can also line up on the outside. So I mean, Cooper DeJean remembers that because he got roasted when Thielen was with the Panthers. Completely forgot Cooper DeJean and that one. So with that, I would say this. If I'm the Eagles on offense again, so let me read through this part. If I'm on the Eagles offense, run the ball. You got to use outside encounters to stop the blitz. If they cannot stop it and Saquon's running for 200 plus yards, I don't care. Feed the rock, and then maybe if they get too tired of it, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, make them eat. I want to see that. Attack the outsides, attack early. And you do not you do not stop scoring. You keep on going at it. Because this Vikings offense can find a way to score points. Now, if I'm the Eagles defense, what you have to do, again, you got to win on first and second down. I want to see some tight zone coverage. I want to see some delayed blitzes. Like, make Carson Wentz guess. I want to see Jahad Campbell line up in a couple of stunts. Attack the inside if you need to. If it works, it works. And just cover and please tackle your guys. That's all I ask for. And do not commit any stupid-ass penalties. I don't want to see Tank Bigsby returning kicks. I've lost faith in him. Put Jahan Dotson or hell, activate Britton Covey. Please do that. And if Quinyon Mitchell's playing, I put him on Jay Jetta. But if Jordan Addis, if Jay Jetta is if Justin Jefferson is still there and Quinyon is not, I think you try and put Cooper DeJean on him and you bracket him with a safety. But it depends upon that pass rush. If the Eagles front seven can get to the quarterback and sack, then I think the Eagles have a chance to win this game. But I think they could do it. It would be very tight. Eagles win 23-20. And that's all I can say. And with that being the case, this ends a very last-minute episode of NFL Masala, Season 4, Episode 19, which is the Week 6 recap, Week 7 preview. If you guys like this episode, make sure you check out the podcast on our following platforms: Google, Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, and yes, we are on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell icon for more notifications. You can also find us on our social media platforms: Twitter /X, Instagram, and Threads, with the username at NFL MASALA 2022. That is NFL MASALA 2022, all lowercase. With that, thank you very much for joining in. Happy Diwali to everyone. And from my end, fly Eagles fly.